Testing, testing, test, test, test. Test Ickles, test Ickles. Welcome everyone to episode 694 of the Daily Mother, a Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beercast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Nipplecast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Little piece of a sweet potato from some damage I did earlier, so this just happened. This just happened. And if you're listening on the podcast, the reason why I said in the intro that I am sweating balls is because the air conditioner is loud as shit, the fan is loud as shit, and it's hot as shit in Florida, and I have to turn all that stuff down if I want to get quality audio, so I sweat. This is literally a sweatshop. It's a Swole sweatshop, and this is what I do for you, fam. This is what I do for you. So appreciate me. Appreciate Papa Swolio. Stroke my ego a little bit. Like, just make me happy right now. Just float some hearts, float some biceps. Just, I don't know, just do something. Do something. Do something. Do it. What's going on, fam? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't need your. I don't need you. I don't need you. Okay, I do. I do need you. I do need you. Like, if you're not here, then there's just no point. But be that as it were, 694. What up, lovers? What up, virtual love fam, virtual game fam? Where the fuck is YouTube at? YouTube's falling asleep. YouTube's taking a nap. Welcome everyone joining for the triple live broadcast. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all at Swolenormous, of course. And if you want to catch the podcast, remember SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. Let me try to bring Instagram down a notch so you can see a little bit more of my nips. There you go. I mean, I know Instagram. I've been getting a lot of comments on Instagram saying, we need more nips, we need more nips. So, I mean, all right, there you go. You got some more nips on IG. I mean, come on, people. What's going on, everyone? Welcome, everyone listening to the podcast, everyone watching live, watching the replay. What is the dealie? Yo. So today's episode 694. We're going to talk about cables for the lats. We're going to go back to some training stuff. We're going to go back to some lat work, and that's contextual because I'm going to be doing back today. And I originally was going to work out yesterday. I did not. I did some yoga instead. So I'm going to work out today. I shall. And I'm going to do back, and I thought I was going to do deadlifts. I don't know. My lower back, like, I'm feeling more sore today than I was yesterday for when I was doing legs the other day. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do deadlifts or not. I may do partials. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm in the mood for deadlifts, but I am going to do cables, and that's why I wanted to talk to you all about, because there is a great method, and I'll post up another training video about this, and I'll rage about it, and I'll discuss it, but cables are great for many, many reasons. I'm going to name a few here, and you can ask some questions about back exercise, back training, cables for back, or just cables in general. I'm just going to give you some pointers on some back training today specifically. But let me say some hi to the fam. My sis got snow. Fuck snow. It's hot as balls. Kevin White, new to the channel. What up, Kevin? Yeah, if it's your first time, I don't care where you're watching. If it's your first time watching the Swole, watching the Game Train, watching a bearded legend flex live on camera and just grow as we speak, make sure you say Virgin Swole. Make sure you say it's your first time. I'll try to give you a shout out if I can. Abigail on Facebook, what up? Lemon Dupree, Hara. Must be nice. I got cold wind and rain. Well, yeah, it's fucking hot enough for anyone right now. It's so hot. It's so hot. It's like 80s down here, like low 80s. Earlier today when I posted, it said 77. It wasn't. I don't know what weather tower they're taking the temperature from. It felt like 95. But it's coming. The crazy thing is, it's not even April yet. You know, obviously tomorrow's April 1st, but fuck, it's already here. Like, the fact that it's so hot right now, in like 2 months, is going to be ungodly. And that was one of the reasons originally, if you watch back on the earlier episodes of the Daily Swole, when I talk early, I mean like the first few, like the first 20, 30, 40, 60, whatever it was, you'll notice that the first episodes, I was out on the porch. Because I started broadcasting like in February or March, you know, for the first episodes, maybe April, whatever. But then, and it was at 12 noon every day. So I was doing it on the porch, and then all of a sudden it became like April or May, or it was May, whatever. And all of a sudden every day at 12, I was just sweating, and it was so fucking hot, I had to come indoors. So then the Daily Swole has just been indoors ever since, you know, for the most part. Sometimes I'm walking around or some of those episodes, but that's originally why I came inside, because that 12 noon was a great idea until summer rolled around, and it was just fucking disgusting. So let's talk about back training. If you have any questions about cables, you could jump into that. Ask me. If you have not yet checked out, who here has checked out the anti-diet nutrition workshop that I just launched yesterday? Has anyone is anyone having trouble with that? Anyone having issues? For example, if you sign up for the workshop, let's say you sign up now because I'm playing the workshop every hour. If you signed up, let's say now, that's for the 6 p.m. After 6 p.m. is over, like once you get towards the end of that, 7 o'clock, your link, your sign up is not going to be valid. So you can sign up, but make sure you're signing up for that hour. But it's okay because when you get the confirmation emails, you also get a link to re-register because sometimes you'll sign up and then something comes up and you can't watch it at the moment. That's fine. Just sign up again. You can just re-register for the workshop. There's no big deal. But if you register for the 6 p.m., that link that you have is good for the 6 p.m. So if you can't watch it, you come back at 8 p.m., the original link is you're gonna have to re-register for the workshop, which is fine, but just make sure that you're aware of that if for whatever reason you haven't had a chance to check it out yet. But you get all that information in your email. So whatever email you put in, make sure you put in your email right, because that's where all the communique shall be. So if you caught the workshop, we have Love It Sweet. You were raging on the golfers. Oh yeah, the earlier ones. Yeah, I was raging on the, well, they suck. I don't know what's going on with the golf course actually. I think they've been either claiming insurance or they're rebuilding something, but there has been golfers on there like all winter. So either the golf course is in extreme trouble because they just missed like entire prime time, like their entire prime season is gone. So I don't know why they haven't been having golfers out there, but like there are some trees that are still down from the hurricane like 6 months ago. So either they were trying to claim insurance or someone bought it out or they're like going to do some kind of overhaul. I don't know. But there's been like no activity. Every once in a while, people are cleaning shit up and doing some kind of like lawn tending, but there's been no one out there and half the grass is dying. So something's going on. Someone's bankrupt or they're building or they're doing some kind of like huge renovation or overhaul or something. I just can't imagine how many millions of dollars are losing. But be that as it may, fuck golf, fuck all that shit, waste of time, stupid sport, in my opinion. But, you know, I'm not saying it's easy. Some of you might like to play golf, but that's like one of the most lopsided weekend warrior injurious sports ever because people that sit on their butt all day go out there and then add a explosive torque one direction all the time, and people get hurt all the time playing golf because it's amazing amounts of torque. Most people have bad form. You're swinging a freaking huge metal stick, and these are people that are usually in offices all day that go and play golf, and no one's switch hitting when they play golf. So you get a lot of it's really, really high risk factor for golf. So in terms of back, one of the reasons why I like cables a lot, and I'm going to keep it pretty general, but I can answer some specific questions if you have it. One of the reasons why I like to do cables for back is because you don't have to stress the lower body. If you do a lot of cables for back or you use cables in certain ways, you can get angles that you can't necessarily hit with free weights. Now, you can do pull-ups, okay, but everyone can only do so many pull-ups. You can only get so many different angles for a pull-up easily, and not everyone could do a pull-up. So you have pull-downs, you have different grip positions, you got narrow, you get wide, you got underhand, you got neutral, you got all these different types of grip positions. So you have a lot of variety you can have with cables. You can also move in a way that keeps resistance on the muscle. So with a cable, there's always a set angle of pull. When you have a dumbbell or a barbell, it's gravity, right? So gravity is going to pull it straight down no matter what. With a cable, you can kind of arch, you can arc your back, you can turn, you can arc your back, you can arch your back, you can turn, you can twist, and you can get a little bit more of the fiber activation because not every single muscle fiber goes the same direction in the body. I don't know how much you know about anatomy, but you don't have like, oh, muscles run up and down. You got muscles going from the origin into the insertion point, and they're coming at it from all different angles depending on where the fibers are originating from and where the insertion point is. So, and that's one of the reasons why muscles are named certain things. They're based on the shape, they're based on the origin point, the insertion point, the location, the size, the action of the muscle, the innervation, like the anatomical location. There's, I think, 7 or 8 different ways that muscles are named, right? How many heads, like how many heads, the shape, trapezoid, how many heads, biceps, triceps, you know, brachial, you know, biceps brachii is in the brachial area of the body anatomically. So there's different ways the muscles are named, and a lot of those shapes relate to or have to do and correlate with the angle and the direction of the fibers. And you want to make sure that you're trying to hit those different angles. And that's why variety works. That's why doing an incline or doing a reverse bench press can hit different fibers, clavicular fibers, or doing dips can hit lower chest a little bit more. In certain fibers, like there's no lower chest per se, but there are fibers that will be unique to the lower area of the chest. And there is an actual upper part of the chest. You have the clavicular head, you have the sternal head. So you have different areas of the chest. And the same thing with different muscles. You have certain parts of certain muscles that have different angles where the fibers come in from the side a little bit more than vertical. So that's why these different angles work, and that's why variety works. The basics are most important, but the angles are also beneficial. Now, if you don't have the basics right, I wouldn't go playing around with all these fucking angles. A lot of people are trying to build peak, right? Peak in their biceps before they have mass. A lot of people are trying to add shape before they have mass. Like, you have to stick with the basics and build some fucking beef on your body and then start carving it out and start shaping. Like, you can't shape things that don't have any, like, you can't create a sculpture with not enough clay, right? You can't make a 10-foot sculpture if you only have enough for a 6-foot sculpture, right? So you need to have like that. You got to create that foundation. You got to create those blocks so you can chip away and carve away and then, you know, get into the nitty gritty. So build some mass. So once you have those basics and once you have those foundations, then you can start playing around with certain angles. What I like about cables is it's a great way to hit the lower lats. And that's because you can get a great stretch. And to break down a little bit more of the anatomical, I was going to say anatomical and then I wanted to say anatomy. So the anatomy. To break down a little bit the anatomy or the kinesiology of the lats actually originate from the pelvis. It actually touches your hip. It originates from your hip and from the thoracolumbar fascial tissue right there in the lower back. So it inserts all the way up into the inside, the intertubercular groove. It's been a while since I've looked at my anatomy book, but on the inside, it kind of goes under the armpit of the humerus and inserts into the same location just about as the pec major. So because the lats are such a huge muscle, a lot of people just work the upper part, right? You're not getting the lower part of the lats. So that means you need to start activating and lengthening and really getting involved with the hips and getting involved with movements that will trigger a stretch or improve like the elasticity and get that lengthening of the fibers in the origination portion of the lats. So one of my favorite exercises, I'm going to talk about it now. That's going to be the next video. I just posted on Instagram and Facebook my humerus workout vids, and I'll post another one. I don't know if I can get it done tonight. I'll see, maybe I'll post it tomorrow. But a great exercise, amazing exercise that targets the lower lats. And I do it on the cable machine, but the way I position myself extends the hip on that side for the lats and allows for a full stretch and even some kind of a, how should I put this, I would say a hip drop, hip height combination where you're actually lengthening the pelvis on the right side while you are in shoulder. I'm going slowly because I want to say it right in case you have any freaking kinesiology, you know, keyboard jockeys out there. While you're in shoulder flexion, and you could also even get some external rotation. So you really can get all the fibers lengthened maximally, because what the lats do, the lats play a role with that actual adduction, bringing the arm towards the body. The lats also do shoulder extension, bringing the humerus down. The lats also do internal rotation of the humerus. It'll turn the arm in. And also because of the origin, the insertion point of the lats, when the lats contract, you tend to arch your back, because it pulls across that thoracolumbar fascia and that extension in the lower back. So that's why a lot of people have a huge lower back arch. They have weak glutes, tight hip flexors, which tilts the hips forward. And because of that Jenga reaction with the skeleton, you'll get an increased extension of the lower back, which puts pressure on the vertebrae and the intervertebral discs, not good. And not to mention, most people are really tight in their lats because you're driving, you're at computers, you're texting over, your arms are always like locked in place. So you have really tight lats, you have really weak hips and imbalanced hips, so you get a lot of compression in the lower back. And also the heels, men wearing sneakers, women wearing heels, so you really are just fucking destroying your lower back all the time. So that's another reason to do core work, proper core work, and yoga and all those things I talk about, and glute activation. And those of you that are in, those of you that have jumped on those of you that got into the Swolenormous X platform, my site, through the special offer on the nutrition workshop, and also the those of you that are already members, you know, like the glute pack And everything in Swole X is really about core activation, but the right way, like glute activation. And when you're starting from hip stability, it'll help above and below the hips. And one of the reasons why I like to do this exercise I'm explaining with the cable row, with my hip drop, hip hike, I could really suck the stomach in and actually flex the lower back, get flexion in the lumbar spine while I'm stretching. And I go really light and slow. And sometimes I go a little bit heavier and I kind of, the way I'm pulling, but it's a very safe position because when I'm at full extension or shoulder flexion, but when I'm at the, this full stretch movement of this cable exercise I'm talking about, it's a single arm cable, but the way I do it, I'll have to show you. So stay tuned for that. I just can't explain it here. Just like maybe a couple millimeters or an inch beyond my full range of motion is where the stack will hit with the cable. So I'm not putting a lot of I don't have to get up and yank. There's not gonna be a lot of yanking pressure on my lower back. I can almost fully stretch and just touch the stack and kind of rest and then kind of boom, drive at the heavy weight, let it back slowly and touch, take a breath and do almost interval or pause repetitions. You go super heavy and it's a really secure position. The length of the bench at my gym really it digs right into the top of the hip so I can lock out that hip and really it almost pulls apart the hip it's a great fucking exercise. And there are probably certain ways to modify depending on the length of your bench. Whether you're at home with bands, you can mimic this. And all you got to do is set up a bench or set up some kind of support where you can lock yourself out for a single arm. So I love single arm exercise on cables. And that's really where I want to go with this conversation before we jump off, because I'm going to be only here for a few more minutes. If you have questions, make sure you drop them. First off, I'm sweating. Second off, time to get my pump on. But I like single arm cables a lot. I think bilateral exercise are great, especially with cables, but do not underestimate the beauty and the power of cable with band back exercise and cable back exercise, single arm, because of you can get a stretch with the lats that you can't get with two arms. So otherwise, let's say you're doing a pull down, you're going up and down. But with a single arm, you can get up, and then if you have your thighs locked out, you can get that stretch, and it comes up across. And then you pull down and you get a lot of a sweeping movement. You get a lot of width. You get a lot of those fibers that don't normally get hit with the lats when you're just doing a two arm or when you're just doing a row and you're keeping your arms close. So I really encourage you, if you do cables and if you do back exercise like that, to do a single arm. Try some single arm exercises. They are amazing. They are amazing. So drop in the comments below what you think about single arm cable exercises for back. But that is my epic cable knowledge nuke for today. I'll keep it simple, and we could always expand on this in other episodes, but I'll keep it simple and straight to the point for those that are tuning in. No questions, or very few questions. How's Facebook doing? Are we good quality? I don't see a lot of things popping up. Usually Facebook's lit and on fire. But if there's ever any kind of connection breakup or you're not getting audio clear, just check out the podcast later. Great idea. Cool. All right, so it's working. Stretch is amazing. All right, so don't fall asleep on me, fam. I don't care. Look, I know you got stuff going on. I know I'm ranting, but make sure you're always mashing those thumbs up, dropping some comments. Even if you're just giving gorilla grunts or floating some biceps, you're not spamming the comments. That lets me know that, here's a couple things. It lets me know a couple things. It lets me know, one, the stream didn't freeze, it's working and everyone's hearing what I'm saying, oh, cool, it's good. Because I hate it when I don't see any comments for a long time and someone's like, oh, the audio is cutting out. It's why didn't you tell me 10 minutes ago when, the last comment appeared? Plus, it gets me amped up. It's it's almost like you going, Papa Swoleo, Papa go Swoleo, go, do it, daily soul. And I'm over here going I'm talking, but in my mind, I see the comments, I see the hearts. So in my brain, I'm and then it gets me more amped. So, yeah. So it does a couple things. It lets me know you're alive. It lets me know you're paying attention. It lets me know you agree or you disagree or you like what I'm saying. And, like I said, it lets me know that the stream is not frozen or we're good with connection and stuff. It's not I'm going to do anything if the connection's bad. It's going to be oh, well, shit, we'll catch the podcast later. What can you do? But at least I'm aware. I'm not expecting a question or something. Single arm is fucking awesome. Good pull. Stretch is amazing. Great idea. Yes. Comments on the Shinstagram. Let me try to turn this. Oh, the brightness is all the way up. Pause because you weren't using the app. Fuck yeah, I'm using the app. Let's see. What does that say here? Do you think incorrect pelvic position in all movements could cause lower back pain? Hell yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you should have correct pelvic position all the time. The bigger issue is incorrect pelvic position when you're not in the gym, like when you're at home sitting down, like me, I'm sitting down. At least I'm on a ball, so I move it around a little bit. I get up and I stretch. Standing desks are cool, but if you're standing in the same position all day long, that's not good either. Everyone's like, oh, standing desks, standing desks. Most people that have standing desks are leaning to the side. Like, it's not comfortable standing in position. Anyone that works retail or works like as a cashier or something knows standing sucks too. Like, everyone's really blowing up standing desks, standing desks. Standing desks fucking blow. Trust me, I did it for a long time. You're standing and you're leaning and it's uncomfortable. It's exhausting after a while, just standing around. So no matter what you're doing, you should be moving. So you set a timer, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, get up and stretch for 5 minutes, get back and get back to work and whatever. But it's more about the improper pelvic position when you're in the car all day, when you're at the office all day, when you're sitting at a computer all day. And then combined, and then because of that, and here's the big thing, and here's the reason why I put so much stress on this in my programs and shit, because you might hear me say, oh, well, activate the glutes, suck the stomach and squeeze the glutes. Oh, glute activation, cool. You might even do some of these glute activation exercises, or, okay, suck the stomach in and squeeze the glutes during this exercise. All right. But if you're every day, all the time in a bad pelvic position, you're not going to be able to activate the glutes. You're not gonna be able to suck the stomach in and squeeze the glutes while you're doing your training because those muscles won't fire properly. So you have to undo all those problems. You have to undo and activate those muscles. You can't just, okay, I'm gonna activate my glutes now. I'm just gonna suck my stomach in and squeeze my glutes. Oh, Papa Swole says suck my stomach in so I can feel my glutes when I squat more. No, you have compounded compensations. Like you have to undo that that shit before you you can't just activate them. You can't just fire them. You can't just feel your glutes more. You have to go through the process. Let's see. Terry Huchin, I don't even know how to pronounce it. Huchin. Agree single arm concentrations on cables. You mean for biceps? Stan Maxwell, don't go to the gym, but have free weights and bench. Will that get the job done, or is cables and other machines a must? A must for what? No, you don't have to go to a gym. Like, I mean, a gym, what is a gym? A gym has equipment. If you have the equipment at home, you're fine. You don't need cables and other machines. I mean, can they help? Yeah, but I mean, the basics work, fam. The basics work. Like a bar and weights are fine. You know, dumbbells too, that helps. Cables, cool, add some variety. But you can see amazing progress with any piece of equipment. The most important thing is the consistency and the progressive overload. Most people aren't consistent enough, and most people don't overload enough. Most people, if you have bands, you don't have bands heavy enough to add the kind of overload enough to build so much muscle mass. With a barbell, you're going to stick to more basic exercises. I mean, in general. But barbells, dumbbells, that's fine. You don't need cables. You don't need bands. Those are extra, tools and things that have been popular in more recent years. They're great, but you don't need them. Hydration break. Fuck. I think that water filter needs to be changed. Some heat on this. How to correct psoas imbalances would be dank if you dropped. What's with this fucking dank word? Why is everyone saying dank now? Fucking, it'll be dank if you drop some heat on this. What the fuck are you talking? Get the fuck out of here. How to correct psoas imbalances would be dank if you drop some heat on this. You mean you want some education on how to correct your hip imbalances? I'm gonna drop some dank heat, fam. Fucking, I love it. Yeah, well, I mean, I've dropped. If you really want, I've been dropping dank heat on that for like 3 years. So yeah, I talk about core balance. I talk about glute activation. I talk about hip balance and postural correction. I've done so many episodes of this podcast on that. But yoga is great. Glute activation, foam rolling, inhibition techniques on the front of the hip and the psoas. It's mostly your tensor fasciae lata, your TFL, all the hip flexors. Your hip flexors, psoas minor, iliacus, all those. But yoga, well, I mean, literally, if you don't want to look up a ton of corrective exercise and activation, because most of you aren't going to do it properly, no offense, but if I even demonstrated all these glute exercise and all these inhibition techniques, and it's boring and most of you aren't going to do it. If you just start doing basic yoga, you're going to be lengthening your hip flexors and activating your glutes. So that is really, if you're not doing, plus if you're not doing yoga, period, that's where you need to start. I'm just fucking with you. I don't care about the slang. I'm just busting chops. Just got home from the gym. Now listen to Papa Swole. Yeah, but just a reminder, everyone, if you want to look up a specific episode, I couldn't for the life of you tell you off the top of my head what episode I talked about that in, but you could do any search you want on YouTube. Just type in Swolenormous space and then glutes, Swolenormous space, core, Swolenormous space, hip flexors, Swolenormous space, like any keyword on YouTube, and it'll bring up the episodes. And then you can go listen to the podcast somewhere else or watch the episode or something. That's that. Like, fam, literally, that's where I do my search. When someone's like, hey, what episode was this? I have no idea. Let me go search. That's where I do my, that's one of the reasons why I keep on doing YouTube. YouTube still has never really picked up for this show. Like, I don't know, I don't know what the algorithm has to do. I put on so much fucking content on YouTube, and I tag, and I do the titles, and the thumbnails, and the end screens, and I link, and I do all this shit. I fucking read, and I try to do everything, and it's like, I see people putting up the fucking shittiest fitness content, and they get tons and tons of views. I have no idea. I have officially lost any kind of concept of how fucking YouTube works. I am still just throwing shit at the fucking wall. So I like the layout of the channel. I think I put on solid content, same content as everywhere else. I do not know what the fuck is going on with YouTube or how to get that to be. So if you have any ideas, if you like watching me on YouTube and you follow that shit, and you have any ideas on that, no idea. But my point was, I don't put this show on YouTube for the views, that's for damn sure. So the search function is amazing. So that's really like one of the reasons why I'm so consistent. Even fasting for 16 with 8-hour window eating, what are your thoughts? I want to get cut before building muscle. Is that a good approach? 5'7", 145. You're 5'7", 145. Bro, you're as skinny as hell. You need to bulk up like a mother. You need to cut before building muscle. Wrong approach. You need to build muscle. You got to build muscle, man. 5'7", 145. You are in bulk mode. Like acceleration. Bulk, bulk, bulk. You got to put on some size. That is absolutely not the right approach. So you should, I mean, in my opinion, you should not be intermittent fasting either. You should be eating sufficient calories. You should be getting your food in, and you should be training hard and heavy. You'll lose fat too. I mean, you'll trim up, you'll tighten up. Like, you're not going to get stupid overweight. Just don't excessively do crazy overload calories, but you need to build. Don't be thinking cutting. You got to be thinking build. And I'm talking about for years. Like, you got to go in building mode. Trust me, you'll work. Depends on how you're trying to look. Depends on what you want the effect to be. But I'm not talking like, oh, 3 months of putting on. No, slap it on. Especially if you're 145. Depends on what you want for the outcome. But yeah, for sure, bulking season is upon you. Eat. Fuck yeah, bro. You're 5'7", 145. Like, are you trying to put on size? You want to get cut? You want to get cut before building muscle? Like, how? You're 5'7", 145. How are you not cut? Like, I mean, you're like skin. Your skin. How are you not cut already? You're like an 80s rock star. Like, eat. Yes, eat. For the love of Pete, you better start eating, Stan Maxwell. You better start slapping on the calories, laddie. Before it's too late. You got it, bro. What do you suggest an approach for 6 foot, 300 pounds? Yoga and proper training, lifting weights. I would say yoga. Don't go running. Don't go killing yourself with cardio. Proper progressive strength training program. And nutrition that's on point. I suggest an elimination diet. Nicholas, Joyce, click the link in my post description for this broadcast and sign up for the free nutrition workshop that I just launched yesterday. You'll like it. The next one starts in 23 minutes. So I'm finishing up here right now. So go check that out. It's a beautiful Saturday. It's a beautiful Saturday for you to change your life. That'll help a ton. All right, fam. Good shit. I'm about to go whale on some lats. I'll post some stuff on my Instagram story. Make sure you tune in. So follow me on Instagram, and I will try to do some stories. Maybe I'll explain a little bit, and I'll do some kind of like video like I did on Instagram and Facebook today, either tomorrow or soon for that. And I'll also break down the entire exercise in nitty-gritty detail in Swolenormous X. So those of you that are Swolenormous X members, that's one of the next exercises that I'm going to be posting up in the instructional video. So that's going to be a super important one that I want everyone to check out. So I'll be hitting you up in the live chat and letting you know, but I want to do that. Maybe I'll do that this weekend. That's a priority for me. This exercise is awesome. I can't wait to do it today. So love you guys. Make sure if you have not yet checked out the anti-diet nutrition workshop, I break down everything that you need to do with nutrition. It's lit like a tit. It's awesome, and it plays every hour. Link in my Instagram bio and in the post description. Have a good rest of your Saturday.